Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Power Players. We got Andre, me, John Hoagland, and Tim Parrott with us this session. Great to meet you, Tim. Great to see you. How are things going for you today?
It's a beautiful day. I appreciate you guys for having me out. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Is that a White Sox hat?
Yes, it is indeed.
All right, we'll hold it against you, but let's start trading.
Oh, no, that's a good thing.
It.
That's a good thing.
I'm outnumbered here. Okay. Okay.
I knew I liked you at Hogue.
My son would definitely approve. I'm more of a Chicago fan, but I love the White Sox. I mean, who doesn't? Right, Andre?
I don't know if their owner actually likes their own team, to be honest with you. I don't know if Reinsdorf likes the team, but yes, it's a cool ass hat. Anyway, so yeah. All right, are we trading a little bit today, Tim?
Yeah, I did have I had a short on earlier. I got short at value area low. It was still developing, so that was at 79.25. I ended up taking that off. I got like 10 points, but
nice.
I've been trading significantly smaller later. So, but yeah, I had a short, got some range extension back to the. I guess that will be pushing back down into yesterday's value area a bit. But yeah.
Nice. You're talking value area. You're a profile guy.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Very nice.
Perked up.
How long have you been trading?
I have been actively trading about 18 months, but I've been in financial markets for 3 years or so. I started off with stocks and went into options. Then I found out about this thing called futures, and then I've been hooked ever since.
Nice. All right. It seems like a kind of a natural progression. We have a lot of folks that kind of start, kind of trying to day trade stocks, and they end up going to options, and then they have a tendency to either go to like Forex or futures. I'm not a fan of Forex myself. I've been a futures guy my whole life. And we're glad you're here. You've been with Topstep for a while?
I've been with Topstep pretty much my entire time, like learning how to trade futures. But yeah. Came up in the combine, got my funded account, and I plan on continuing to be with Topstep here moving forward. I'm excited for that.
Tim, what'd you trade? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What are you trading?
I trade ES futures.
All right, cool. Nice. Join the party. Welcome to the club here.
Yeah, I was trading NASDAQ at first. But I remember like way back when Hogue had said like NASDAQ gave him like heart palpitations. I think you said that jokingly.
Yeah, it does.
And I realized that like, you know what, I can save myself a lot of stress. I've already lost my hair. I don't want to lose anymore. So I'm like just gonna trade S&P.
All right, well, let's see how this market plays out. Are you done trading for the day? Or are you still open to make a couple more trades if anything presents itself?
Let's see. We got
we're not forcing nothing, but still.
Yeah, no. we got value area low at, I got it at 45.71. So maybe I'll take a long if we can work a little bit closer down. I always try to get some good trade location, limit some risk, but it's also like the middle part of the day. I know it can get a bit dicey around like lunchtime. So
it can. Are you located in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm in Great Lakes, so active duty right now. So I'm still in the Navy. So
thank you for your service first and foremost, man.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah. They gave me the day off.
So what better to do than trade, right?
It's the best thing to do.
That's the best. So you talk to your guys around there. You tell them that you're trading stuff. What do they say? Oh, look at that, Johnny.
Yeah,
that's my dad.
Okay, yeah.
He was in the Navy.
That's awesome. What did you do when he was in the Navy?
He joined in 1944, and World War II ended before he was deployed. He never left the States.
Okay.
But I think he was working on one of the aircraft carriers that were stateside at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm an aircraft carrier guy myself. I started off on an aircraft carrier.
What's like? Hey, real quick, I know it's about training. What's life like on an aircraft carrier?
I'll say that like looking back on it, you have fond memories, but like when you're in it, it's different.
Right.
I went on a deployment back in 2015. So we actually did a 9-month deployment. We left out of Norfolk, Virginia. And we my crew actually did like an around the world tour.
Damn.
But,
How long was that tour?
It was 9 months. We left in February. We came back. When did we come back? We actually got back, and well, we got back in December, but we had stopped off in San Diego. But yada yada yada. But the actual deployment was 9 months long.
Right.
But to answer your question though, you get into a routine, and I think that routine kind of gets you by, like makes the days go by quick. But it's an interesting environment to be in. People always like to highlight, like we have a Starbucks on board the aircraft carrier.
Okay. They found their way onto an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. So I guess that might be good for Starbucks shares. But yeah, you get into a routine and it kind of makes it go by. And I think the people that you're with, they make the experience. It's not the best environment to be in. It's challenging. It has a lot of challenges to it, especially when you have like watch schedules and work schedules. So sometimes you're working like crazy parts of the night, and like you're just doing it consistently. But yeah, the people make the experience, and like you forge some lifelong bonds in that environment. But it's challenging, but it's worth it, I guess.
Is it cool? Are you allowed to tell us what the name of the ship was?
Yeah, I was on the Theodore Roosevelt.
There you go. They were asking in the chat. It's very cool.
Yeah. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the chat without freaking myself.
Very nice.
Very cool.
And what else do? You have another job?
No, I'm so every sailor has their own, like, we call them ratings. So even though everyone is a sailor, everyone has like their particular like skill set, their job. I'm what's called like a legalman. I know it sounds like a superhero that you might see on like NCIS or something like that. But we're on the enlisted side of the Navy JAG Corps. So the Navy has attorneys, and legal men help to support those attorneys to advise commanders. My office, I work in a defense service office, so our office actually represents service members. Sometimes service members do things that they shouldn't do, and they get in trouble for it. So our office advises them and represents them. But yeah, I'm a legalman in the Navy.
You're working for basically defense attorneys, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Nice. And so Great Lakes is home. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Calumet City, Illinois, so the south suburbs of Chicago.
There's where the Sox come from.
Now it all makes sense.
Yeah. I actually got to skip school when they won the World Series, so that was cool.
I remember that. Back in 05, right?
Yep, I got it's on my hat, the World Series hat.
Oh, very cool. Hey, really quick, I want to put a poll up there while we got a chance, while we got Tim on here. How many people in the chat are active or former military? Just want to see, what our base consists of, and always like to give a shout out to those that serve. So yeah, when you guys get there, it is. Wow, production on it quick. I'll have to vote no, but yeah, we'll definitely like to see what we got in here.
Sorry, guys, my dog is barking. I'm muted for a minute here until she stops barking.
All good, Tim. So, yeah, tell us more. So, what are your peeps? What are your friends think about you getting into this trading stuff? I'm sure you've talked to them about it, or they've asked about it, or they've inquired. So, what do you think, or what do they think?
Yeah, no. So even the folks at my job, they think I'm crazy.
Yep.
I tell them I want to transition out of the Navy. I'm getting out at my 10-year mark, so my contract ends. My contract actually ends in April, but I go on what's called like a terminal leave. So I go on my terminal leave here in January. But yeah, they think I'm crazy to forego my retirement, to cut it halfway short. And I think I've done fairly well. So they think I'm crazy, but this is one of those things that you got to go through to understand it and appreciate it, I think.
Agree. I guess consider taking a risk. Well, hell, taking a risk either way. I mean, aircraft carrier life, trade. I mean, it's all taking a risk. When you're on the aircraft carrier, what's like a normal day, or if there is such a thing? What's your sleep schedule? Or you're on different shifts, or how does I know nothing. I'm a newbie to this, so I'd love to know what it's like. Yeah.
Do you sleep?
Yeah. How do you sleep?
You do get you can have opportunities to get some sleep. So I actually came in the Navy, and arguably one of the worst jobs that you can have is an undesignated seaman. So if you ever seen like maybe like a pirate movie, you got like those deckhands. They're kind of like taking care of the ship, driving the ship. That job is still there. So I was a undesignated seaman. When I was on the carrier, so we would stand a lot of watch. We had a rotating watch schedule, so you would stand watch for like 5 hours at a time. I remember thinking back to crossing the Atlantic, and you're like on forward lookout. You got some nice cold wind smacking you in the face for an hour straight. They have like the little, they call them like pumpkin suits, but you don't have like those little suits on, but sometimes those even get wet, so it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then you get off work, and then, you get off watch, and then you actually have to work. So if I get off watch if I have watch from 12 to 4, I get off watch at 4. I'll maybe try to catch a nap for a couple hours, but I have to be working at 8. And then I work from 8 until maybe 4 p.m. Try to go get some food, maybe work out a little bit, and then you're looking to stand watch again. So it's really just a routine.
Right on. All right, real quick, John, what'd you just pull up there?
This is crude oil. We were kind of talking about the acceptance in the close yesterday of the weekly kickoff low. I mean, my target for this move in a longer time frame would all be all the way down to 67.30. That's that swing low. And Deanna was looking at a point a little bit shy of that, but
she was short.
Certainly seems to have grown some legs here, hasn't it?
Yeah, I believe she was short. Hopefully, she's still holding on for that.
I hope so, right?
Yeah. How much are we down on the day right now in crude?
Let's see here. We can see we are down 4.3%, $3.13.
That's fun. Interesting, because I saw this OPEC headline that just came out. May consider extra measures to study the oil market. It's almost like they don't want the market to go down. And that's what they mean by studying it.
Oh, of course.
So, yes, we'll keep an eye on that as we trade. And we got these oil traders in there. But in the chat, please call out the trades if you are short. Over 4%, Dolby says. Dolby, I hope you're crushing and capturing some ticks on these moves. Down.
Yeah, how about it?
This is wild. All the while, this is great.
Tim, how many people are on an aircraft carrier?
We're taking.
When you deploy, you have squadrons that come on board. So we got up to about 5,000 people with the ship's company plus the squadrons, and then we even had a couple of Marine jet squadrons that will come on board. You'll get people like kind of hitch a ride with you, whatever missions they have going on. But it'll get up to around like 5,000 people.
It's a lot of people on a boat.
It sure is.
It's crowded. There's no privacy at all.
No matter what, right?
Yeah. And if you find yourself in a private space, that means you might be somewhere where you shouldn't be. I
do that a lot in trading. I get into places that I shouldn't be sometimes. This is fascinating. I know everybody's enjoying hearing about this. But I kind of go back to trading a little bit. I know you're a profile guy. And what are you trading again?
ES futures. I'll trade depending on what my account's going on. I'll either trade micros or e-minis. But yeah, I solely trade ES right now.
Okay. When you're when you're looking at the profile, I'm sure you're looking at other types of charts, time-based charts. What types of charts are you looking at?
So I've got a 12 hour, a 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. So I'll do my entries on a 15-minute, and then of course I'll have my market profile chart up. I got an extended trading hour profile, and then I have a regular trading hour profile.
And that's it. How did you learn about profile?
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, I know the course that you put on a couple of times. I know you have a couple of different iterations of that course. And then I keep my handy dandy copy of Mind Over Markets here with me at all times.
Beautiful, John. How about that?
Yeah, he's got the updated version. I'm still looking at the old version.
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
But I can't get rid of it because it's signed by the author.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, you and I have a lot of things in common. We could have some really good conversations.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, what are you seeing on the ES right now, Tim? Let's take a look at these charts. All right, we got oil, but yeah, what are you seeing on What are your charts
Well-
showing you for the ES, since that's your bread and butter?
Yeah.
So let's see.
There
It
you
looks
go.
like we came back up near development point of control. I had it at 45.77, so we got almost there. It looks like we're breaking back to the downside. So maybe even getting close to yesterday's value area low, which
What was that price?
I also say again, 45, 66.25.
66.25.
And then also have that, like the previous night's point of control is right there at yesterday's value area low.
I got a question for you. What hours do you typically trade with your schedule being with what it is?
I mean,
Does it vary, or do you try to keep it as consistent as possible?
I keep it consistent. I pick the least opportune time to trade. I trade mostly like the opening range. So
Oh yeah,
I figured
you're
I'd
talking to the
trade-
pro. You're talking to the pro right here.
Huh.
Yeah. So I figured I'd trade like when my day job is the busiest. I figured I'd trade then. I don't know why I came to that conclusion, but I did. But yeah, 8:30 to I don't put any trades on at 8:30. I'll probably wait for things to shake out, maybe at least like the first 15 minutes.
Okay.
But 8:30 to around 11, if we have a slow morning and it looks like things might develop during like the 11 to like 1:30 period, maybe I'll put a position on then. And then depending on how the early part of the day is, maybe I'll put a position on in the afternoon, but typically 8:30 to 11.
Okay, so rarely are you trading the close then?
Yeah, no.
That's fine. Yeah, as long as you got your routine, you stick with it. John, what do you think?
I'm sorry.
As far as your trading routine, I mean, if you stick from 8:30 to 11 a.m. every morning, and that's your sweet spot to trade, I guess you're not forcing any trades, and that's I guess
No.
you're familiar with how the market moves. And I mean, John does the opening range trade with the best of them, so
Yeah.
maybe that was something you could touch on.
Yeah. As far as, I'm here all day, and it's just kind of like Deanna stalking for opportunities. Tim, what's your sweet spot?
As far as
Maybe your time of day that you like to trade.
Oh, my bad. He just touched on it. I'm sorry. He just touched on it. He trades the opening, the opens. And probably,
Yeah.
You fade off around lunchtime, right?
yeah, but to answer your question, I would say my sweet spot is usually like around like 10:15 to like 11.
Nice.
I
Right
know
around the
Dalton-
London close.
Yeah. And I know Dalton talked about like the initial balance, and then in his second book it was markets and profile. I think he went away from initial balance a little bit.
Yeah. He still does.
Okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, usually around like 10 to 11, I think. But if I can get some good trade location, I'll take a position a little bit earlier than that. But it kind of all depends on like what Mr. Market is going to give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know since your profile, you're probably well aware of what good trade location is, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know anything, Johnny?
No. No, I haven't done anything. I've got the profiles up here just to kind of show what Tim was talking about. We got the opening range of the high of the day, so we've come back into value, traded down to it, rejected it, came back. Now it looks like we're moving to the other extreme of value. Value area special situation play is what Dalton used to call it. He says he doesn't look at it that much anymore, much like the initial balance. And he kind of has moved away from a couple of the things that were really, useful in mind over markets, and I still find them useful. But, this is what Tim was talking about. The markets come down to the overnight open point of control from yesterday. And, initially we rejected this area. I mean, this move down to this level here is offering a cheap trade, because if we extend the range at all, I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm waiting for the market to possibly come down here and test value low from yesterday. This down here, I've got it at basically 66.
66.
65, 75.
We got some room still.
Yeah, right. So, we were looking at this as a failed auction. Now we're back in it. We're taking out those TPOs. So, not ready to start looking for longs here just yet. But and I could be dead wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. And speaking of being wrong a lot, you mentioned here that your capital preservation is your primary focus. as it should be. I mean, we all have to keep that fresh in our minds every time we start looking for a trade. Do you look for entries, or do you look for first where you're going to be wrong and then look for your entries, Tim?
Good question.
I usually try to I try to find an area where I can like lean against, is how I describe it. I guess that's like another way of putting like trade location. So even if I'm looking at, for instance, if we got value area low right now at 45, 68, 75, if I wanted to even consider taking a long, I would try to get as close as I can to 45, 68, 75. And then the only indicator that I do use is ATR. And I think, I want to say Dion had mentioned it before, like I'll use ATR for my stop loss placement. And then so if I'm long at 45, 68, 75, then I'll probably put like one ATR. My stop will be one ATR below that. And that way I can try to limit risk as much as I can. But you know, I'm a human. Sometimes I just hop into a trade a little bit earlier. I'm not always as patient.
Yeah, it does happen. When you're talking about ATR, does ATR change according to the time frame on the chart?
Yes. I think it adjusts for like the volatility of that time frame. So if I got right now 15-minute ATR is at a 5.5. So I would usually like round that up to a 6. If I switch to call it a 60-minute, ATR would be at 8.37. And then if you switch it to like a 4-hour, then ATR would be at 14.22. So yeah, it does change based off of the time frame. It adjusts for like the volatility of that time frame, I guess you could say.
All right, Tim, I got a question for you. What was the biggest challenges, the biggest hurdles you had to overcome in trading? What was some, like, when we first got in the game, what did you find the most challenging? Or what do you find the most challenging today in terms of, you know, probably hold on to profits, patience, FOMO, what have you? What challenges have you faced, and what challenges have you overcome, and what challenges are you still working on overcoming?
I would really even say like persistence, to be honest with you. Like
persistence?
It's like an emotional roller coaster. Like some days you're killing it. Some days you're getting punched in the face as soon as you put a position on. But like just kind of keep keeping at it, keeping going, staying at it long enough to
I think we might have lost Tim.
Oh.
It was going so well. There you are.
Now we got you.
You're back.
But yeah, no, just like to quote James Dalton, he said that learning doesn't teach understanding. You can learn as much as you want about the markets. You can learn about structure. You can learn about whatever indicators, but you can't get around putting the time in. And I think like my belief is like if you stay at it long enough, you won't lose. Like you won't fail until you quit.
I love that.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, like sometimes I have moments like, am I crazy trying to do this while I have a full-time job, while I have family obligations, and maybe I should do something a little bit more reasonable. But then I always double back to like, no, if I stick at this long enough, I keep putting in the work, and just like doing the work is one thing that's undeniable. And then if you keep putting in the work, don't get too caught up in like the ups and the downs of like the results, because the market's going to do what the market's going to do. But yeah, just staying at it, being persistent, being stubborn almost.
Pretty much. You gotta be hard-headed in this job, man.
Yeah, I like what you said there. Even Dalton says, you know, we probably see a lot more people succeed at this, but they either run out of money or run out of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Tim, do you see any crossovers between your job and trading? What are the crossovers? Are there any parallels that you've come across?
Yeah, for sure. And even to like Ho's point about like running out of money and running out of time, like the thing about the military is you can't come into the military like a senior enlisted. You can't come in like high ranking. I mean, with some exceptions, but like whatever. but like if you're like a neurosurgeon, maybe you can come in as like a 04. But like barring like those exclusions, like if you're just like a regular person joining the military, if you're enlisted, best case scenario, come in as an E3, and you got to work your way up through the ranks. There's certain skills and levels that you have to, there's certain like skill sets that you have to learn at each level, and you can't skip any steps. And I tell myself, and I put it in my journal, it's like, I think when it comes to trading, there's certain lessons that I have to learn. And until I master those lessons, I won't make it to like that next phase. Like I'll see guys on the internet and they're making tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm like, man, you know, like I want that to be me, but I'm like, you know what? I need to master the level that I'm at, and of course I'll progress. But kind of going back to what I was saying, like you just gotta stick with it. You got to stick with it long enough to be able to see that success. So that's just what I'm doing now, and even in my own trading, like just learning, I had to double back and like reassess my risk management. Like the way that I traded coming up to the combine, or like trading my personal accounts, like I can't do that in my funded account. And learning how to, you know, adjust position size, manage my risk, monitor my P&L. Like those are all things that I'm like, if I'm being honest, I'm like learning those things now, mastering those things now. But I know that once I get those things down pat, it'll just pay dividends moving forward.
It'll take you to the next level, right? You gotta master where you're at and then move on. It's a really great way to put it, and it's something you learned, I'm sure, in the Navy, and I think we could all learn some of that from you, which we really appreciate. You mentioned family obligations. Are you married?
Like, I'm not trying to pigeonhole my service members, but I am divorced. Like, I guess I got my yeah, but I'm divorced. But I do have I have a girlfriend and I have a daughter. So I have my own family. But and then, of course, like my immediate family. But yeah, just people that you love and that you care about, and those are my why. You know, like I want to be successful at this because of those people that I love and I care about.
Sure. Do you talk to them about trading, and what do they think about you doing this?
Yeah, for sure. Especially with my girlfriend, like I think like she's probably like my if anybody's my trading partner, it's her. Like she probably hears more about you know, like the ups and the downs of like the financial markets more than anybody, because if I get up early in the morning and she's up, like I'm talking about it then, or if I have a certain kind of day in the market, I'm talking about it afterwards. I think it's important to have like somebody like her. She's an awesome individual that's like loving and supportive. And she's like my first believer. You know, I think that's important. Like when you set off on this thing,
nice.
Sometimes you don't believe in yourself, but if you have like one person to believe in you, and you just get to the point like you see what they see. So, but yeah, shout out to her.
Respect.
That's it's wonderful to have somebody like that. There's so many folks, you know, they don't have anybody to talk to, or aren't supportive, or isn't supportive, whatever it is, of, you know, your endeavors in trying to trade. So they really start to get isolated. It's great that you have that. Are you have you been watching TopstepTV at all?
I was gonna ask that, John.
Yeah, no, I watch it as much as I can. Granted, I do have a decent amount of like running around I got to do during the daytime, but to even now I'm getting to have a bit more free time. But yeah, every chance I get, I like to watch TopstepTV. I remember coming up watching Market Prep with you, Hogue, and that's kind of how I learned how to like get a routine coming into the market.
Cool.
But yeah, I remember those. I think you were like at your kitchen table back in the day, like the pandemic.
We've come a long way from there, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was my office was in my dining room. I've moved offices now, but I'm glad that you know, to some degree I've made a difference and helped you, and that's why I do it. That's what I'm here for. What else?
Nothing. Well, hey, John, I was going to ask you really quick. I know we always ask all our guests about what they thought. I guess trading was a family business for you, but what did you ever get pushback, John, at all about you getting into this industry, or was it just kind of like, well, that's Dad did, and that's the family business essentially?
No, I didn't really get any pushback. You know, my wife she's always been supportive. You know, I had already reached a kind of a level of success before we got married, so.
Yeah.
And then when we got married and had kids, I started being a filling broker, which, you know, kind of a dual job, right? I mean, you're filling orders for commissions, and then you're trading on the side. So she's always been supportive. I mean, you know, there's always ups and downs. I mean, when I stepped out of the pit, she's like, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna going to start to learn how to trade on screen. And she was supportive. My dad was always supportive, and he didn't really try and push me in any particular direction as far as trading is concerned. But he was always there to answer the questions. He was one of those guys that would, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about doing this, or I'm thinking about this. And he'd say, okay, well, just what do you think about it? And he'd talk, and he'd nod his head and say, okay, all right, yeah, well, whatever. And you'd come to your own conclusion. And then he'd say, that's what I kind of figured you were going to do. He would never say, do this or don't do this. He'd let you kind of work your way through it. And then, he was there to pick you up if you fell, but he was that kind of guy. So I think that really over the long haul helped me become a better decision maker when it came to trading, because you work through the issues in your head, why yes, why no, and then you come to your conclusion, and then you take the trade or you don't, whatever it is. So I think it's helped me become a lot more decisive, but I never got pushback from anybody as far as being in the industry, getting into the industry, or staying in the industry.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap this up, I know we have a top quiz coming up here in a little bit. Tim, what advice would you give to people that are trying to get into the space, or newbies, or people that are just looking to or interested in getting into trading? What advice would you give to them? Essentially, no shortcuts, to put in the work. What do you got?
I mean, I would say stay more so focused on the process than the outcome. So even for me, every morning I like to work out before I walk, log into the markets. Like I kind of like my little things like work before work. So like working out before I come in and do my market prep. So doing your market prep, getting a routine so you can to quote Hogue again, like you seeking that accurate context. I think having like a good trade routine, like leading up to the market, is good. So having your market prep, getting your plan for the day, executing your plan throughout the course of the day, and then at the end of the day, taking like 30 minutes to recap that, journal it. I feel like if you just consistently do that, there's no way that you can not be successful. So I would just say, like, sticking to that. Of course, you'll have winning days, red days, green days, but it just staying committed to the work. It'll help you get through those turbulent times. That's it. And then
So many people have come to me and said, Hogue, I really want to become a consistent and profitable trader. And to that, I ask them a question, and I say, what are you doing consistently to get ready? What are you bringing consistently to the market? Are you doing your prep? Are you doing the journaling? Are you doing all the things that are going to help you with that goal of being a consistent trader? I think a lot of people will say, yes, they do, but I think a lot of people don't do it. So
I think you're right.
Kudos to you, man. You got to do the work before you do the work before you do the work. I love that.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Well, Tim, with that being said, we really appreciate your time. I know that everyone in the chat here has been loving this conversation. You're a super interesting guy. Don't be a stranger around here, man. Feel free to come back.
We'll do. I appreciate you. Whenever you need me.
I'm looking forward to staying in touch, Tim.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you got it. So tune in to Top Quiz next. We're gonna get this sucker back on schedule. But yeah, Tim, again, thank you so much for your time and telling us about your trading journey. And I think we'll be right back.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, man.
Bye, Tim.